What were the conversations that took place to get you out of retirement and into Tampa?
Well, everything had to, check out for me. It wasn't just one situation that was going to, get me out of retirement. First off, I had to be feeling good again. I was really beat up, those last 2 years in New England, and it was getting tough on me. Playing on a weekly basis. Like the Sunday game, I couldn't recover until like Saturday, the following Saturday, and then the practice and all that. It was just becoming miserable. I mean, everyone experiences that, and that's why everyone retires eventually. Because if you weren't experiencing that and you were experiencing the joy of like playing like when you were 23, why the fuck would you retire? You know what I mean? So when it starts getting miserable and hard, that's when you want to walk away from the game. And that's what I did. But I was really beat up too. But I was like, you're kind of evolving, throughout your whole career. I found different situations, to recover, also different workouts, that can keep me on top of my game. Also kind of needed a different scenario, different program. So when Tom went to Tampa, we just talked about it a little bit. My mom lived down there. I love Florida. Totally different organization. Felt more laid back. Definitely put the work in, but still more laid back, like a country club. They wanted me as well, Tampa. It wasn't just Tom wanted me. The organization called me up too, and they're like, yeah, we definitely want you to be a part, of the Buccaneers family. I was feeling good as well and felt like I had more left in the tank. So every box checked off. And then obviously with Tom going down there to have that chemistry and just keep it going on in the new program. So everything just, pled my way. And I pulled the trigger to do it.
It sounds like they were willing to like cater around your expectation, what you wanted physically too, like what your body needed, what you needed how old are you at this time?
I was 30 years old.
Yeah, it's like a 30-year-old tight end. Was back in New England when you decided to retire, you talk about the joy and it just you hated showing up to work. Was a lot of it too the expectation and the stress that would come with the organization of the Patriots, like the standard that had lived and they expected you to live by? When you're like, hey, I feel like my body would respond better doing this, or I feel like I should be doing this workouts. Because a lot of times you butt heads with those third-party sources that we all use outside of the facility, and then you try to implement them inside, and the whole ego battle kind of like butts heads.
Yeah, you hit it right on the money, bro. I mean, like you said, you played for a while, so you understand that. And every player kind of goes through that experience too. But in a way, like in New England, like coaches never gave off anyone from practice. But like at the end of my career, I was like, I can't be playing in a game on Sunday and practice full speed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like I'm blocking guys. Think about what I'm doing. I'm running 35 routes a game as well, like a wide receiver. And I'm trying to block 300 pounders sometimes, DNs that are 260 pounds, linebackers that are running all over the place on a continuous basis every single play. So my energy and effort and output is higher than anyone else out there on the football field, if you really think about it, because of the routes I got to run and also the be in shape blocking. And I just couldn't recover anymore. Like Wednesday would come and I wouldn't even want to hit anyone in the 9-on-7. I'd be like, yo, like I'm just gonna put my hand in front of you, like I didn't even want to hit. Like that's a bad feeling. You don't want to get hit and you're playing the game of football. But like if I took off like by like Thursday or Friday, like I was able to do it again, like have that mindset like, oh, I'm ready to hit. But like no one would get off in practice or anything. So it was getting tough, like that mentality, that aura in New England. Like I wanted a day off of practice and all that, but it was just tough. And it was tough to ask for it too, because of the expectations.
Right.
So when I got to Tampa,
you feel like you're letting the team down.
You feel like, exactly. But when I got to Tampa, they were kind of known like, hey, we give vets a day off. Like you got to be truly proven though. Like, and I was proven at that time. And I was like, can I at least get one day off a week? And in training camp every 3 days I get off too, and they were down for it. I
bet you could have probably negotiated more coming out of retirement.
Yeah,
you'd have been like,
I didn't need more though. But also with the mindset of coming from New England, you kind of feel like you're letting the team down as well if you're taking off too much, especially if you're not injured or rehabbing an injury. But I was cool with it, with my mindset, because I truly knew that I couldn't practice every single day and then be fully ready for a game on Sunday. And they gave me off every Friday, my 2 years in Tampa, which I'm thankful for, which, I put the work in, Wednesday, Thursday, but I truly believe that's what got me to play and got me, to be able to play at the level I play. It wasn't the highest level of football that I could possibly play at like I was, but like to play at the highest level at that age and where I was,
Yeah.
taking off that Friday to
Yeah.
at least make an impact on the field.
Right. Well, it got you that incentive too.
Yeah.
Because there was that clip that came out of you going up to Tom being like, "Hey, I need one more."
Yes.
And so you were pulled out of that game, correct? And you're like, "I need to go back in."
Yeah. Well, we were whomping them. It was like the third quarter. We were up like 35-0 or
Yeah.
35-7. So they pulled all the starters. But Tampa's cool. You know, they're cool like that. They want you to make all the possible money that you can make. Our offensive coordinator, Byron Leftwich, always said in the meeting, there's two things that you take away from football in the end. He goes, it's your relationships and it's the money that you make. That's the two things that stick with you forever. And he says, so going in, he goes, if we're up, obviously the most important thing is to win the game. But if we're up and you need an extra catch, we're going to get you that extra catch. We're going to get you that money.
That's awesome.
So we were winning. They pulled all the starters, but Tom was like, hey, we got to get one more catch. We drew a play right on the sideline. Hey, Rob, motion across. You're just going to run a diagonal. I'm going to hit you. And boom, motion across. I actually false started, but they didn't get called where you lean forward a little bit.
Yeah.
That's called, what's that called again? What's the penalty?
Illegal motion.
Yeah, but you,
No.
where you accidentally move forward a little bit on the motion. That's a penalty. You're not allowed to move
Isn't
forward.
that just a false start then?
It is a false start, but there's a name for it. I can't think about it right now, but I did that actually, but they didn't call it because the game was just
Yeah, it was done.
way out of reach. Ran that diagonal, boom. Tom hit me.
Was that
And,
700?
I needed, I think like 55 catches or something. That was my 55th catch to hit my last incentive in my contract. Yeah. So Tampa was cool like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever have incentive based stuff in your contracts in New England?
Yes.
Never. Did you ever miss one?
My last year in New England, I basically missed them all. But my second last year in New England, I hit them all.
Did you really?
Yeah. So I bet
hell
on myself again going into that last year, but
Lost
halfway
the
through,
bet.
Yeah.
halfway through, I didn't even care about them anymore. I was just like, I gotta survive,
Yeah.
dude. I'm just trying to survive here.
Yeah. What was
Yeah.
hurting the most on you towards the end?
Like,
From your body standpoint, you're like,
Like-
I got to survive this. Was it shoulder? Was your back acting up again?
it was inflammation in my body, bro.
Insert Adam Bobo.
Yeah, inflammation, dude. Like, it wasn't anything nagging. Well, my back was nagging a lot, but I was inflamed. But like I still have it to this day a little bit. Like if I go ham one day, 2 days later, like I can't move. Like I'm inflamed. Like I'm slow. I kind of actually have it a little bit today. I haven't worked out in like 2 weeks. I did a hardcore yoga like 48 hours ago exactly. And like I didn't go too hard in it because I knew I was coming on. But when I get inflamed, like I'm slower. Like I can't run as fast. And I was like, I couldn't recover fast enough and get rid of that inflammation. Even though I started finding ways to do it, it's just at that rapid rate. And I was so far behind that slowness, just that, not that burst anymore. You don't have that quickness either anymore. And it just doesn't want to make you get hit either. Everything hurts then too. So inflammation was, my biggest killer, I would say.
God.
Is there a story outside of what you've already talked about in past conversations where you were going to get traded to Detroit, you threatened to retire, they don't trade you?
Yeah.
But was there a story behind the scenes about how the organization was kind of handling your situation that isn't known or that you haven't kind of talked about? Because everybody's aware that you did the whole threaten to retire, they don't trade you, you're back in New England.
Well, that was a tough year. We lost to the Philadelphia Eagles that year, actually, in the Super Bowl after the comeback versus Falcons. So we went back-to-back Super Bowls. We were actually almost three-peated. We went to 3 Super Bowls in a row, but we just lost the middle one versus the Eagles. But that year was tough, man. I'm talking just the aura of the organization. I don't think anyone really enjoyed that season. I'm talking like any player. Like it was just weird, but we were dominating. We were still winning, and we went to the Super Bowl. But just overall, it was tough. And what was the question again?
About when they were going to trade you to Detroit.
There we go.
And then
so
you threatened to
now,
retire.
now I say that's why I was bringing that up. So that whole year, so then I was being an asshole after that year. Like they were trying to get a hold of me. I wasn't answering anything. I was saying shit in the media. I was just being a complete asshole. And then I'm with Monster Energy, and Monster Energy has Monster Jam, and in New England at Gillette Stadium. And I still haven't talked to anyone in the organization. I was kind of vocal in the media, like this year sucked. like kind of shit like that, like miserable here. Like I was one of those guys, like, like, and that was like the aura of when everyone was saying it sucks to play in New England. Like there was those that 1 or 2 years. That was when the Eagles players were going to the parade and like ripping on the organization. Like I was one of the guys like saying it sucks to play there like that year. Like it was just a tough year just overall. So then I was being an asshole. I go to Monster Jam and I have to have a press conference there. And it's all the football, like for my Monster's like, hey, like you got to do the appearance at Monster Jam. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, this ain't going to go over so well. So I show up to the press conference in the whole uniform. Like I'm a freaking dirt bike rider with the helmet on. I go up to the press conference and they just start asking me football questions right away. And I'm just giving fucking blatant like asshole answers back. And then a week later is when I get the phone call and finally I answer, hey, we're going to trade you. And I never wanted to get traded. Actually, I knew it was going to come down to this, though, because of what I was doing. It was the counter reaction, you know, the organization was doing back to me. Like, oh, he wants to be an asshole. Well, we're going to get rid of him. And that's when Patricia was the head coach at the Lions, too. And he's like, all right, well, I'm going to grab Gronk then. I'm going to trade for him. And I got the call. I got traded, but I was prepared. I was fucking prepared. I knew the phone call was going to come. I knew I was going to get traded. I was prepared. Hey, Rob, we're going to trade you to the Lions. I said, you can't trade a retired player. Yeah, right on the spot. I was like, you can't trade me. I'm retired. Like, I just retired. Like, you can't trade. My agent's like, you're a genius, Drew. He's like, I never been in this situation before. And then finally, Bill was like, well, then what the fuck's the problem? I went in. We hashed everything out. I was like, the trade never went through then. It got axed. Actually, it would have been through if I said no problem. But I ended up playing one more year in New England. I was like, business isn't done. Like, I'm just being an asshole a little bit. Business not done. Let's do one more year. I'm so glad I went back. I was actually about to retire, though, too. I was really thinking about it. But I didn't feel right going to another team. Not at all. I was like, I'm not going to end it with another team. I'll do another year in New England. And we ended up winning the Super Bowl. And that was my last game in New England, winning that Super Bowl, I think, 53 in Atlanta versus Los Angeles Rams. Ended with that catch up the middle, a 28-yard bomb up the seam to the 2-yard line, and then Sony Michel ran the ball right behind me in for the only touchdown of the game. So it all worked out in the end.
Yeah, man. What made that year with Philadelphia so hard? Was the expectation coming off the prior Super Bowl?
No, I was beat up a little bit still. My body wasn't responding how I wanted it to, but just the aura. Yeah. It was. That last year going in was a lot better than that Philadelphia season. I remember everyone just was pissed.
Yeah,
I remember. It's just hard to explain. Like why? Like you just had to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.